All right, folks. Well, took a minute, emptied the bladders, got some new
There you go.
coffee.
Yep.
So, anyways, I hope you guys are enjoying the view behind us. We have a beautiful river flowing.
Yeah. Dude, this site is primo.
Yeah, and it's beautiful day. It's just now starting to get comfortable. I could probably take this jacket off, but it
Yeah.
was, like I said, chilly this morning for sure.
This is an interesting area because, like, in the daytime it's really warm, and at night it gets really cold.
Right.
Like last night, I'll admit I was suffering a little bit in there just because of the chilliness. But yeah, it's big contrast day and night out here.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and I mean, I actually had to, like during the day the van doors are wide open, trying to keep things kind of aired out and cool, and then at the night everything's shut up, and the heater actually kicks on for me to stay warm. So
Yeah, lucky.
yeah. Anyway, so we're gonna get into the next part of this and then kind of talk about a little bit of kind of some things that have kind of changed over. I'd say it's been kind of changing over the last year and a half. You know, so I would say, prior to TikTok and Instagram Reels, not to say there wasn't other services, but I felt like YouTube was probably the primary place that most people went to get video content, and to watch that kind of stuff. Now I do feel like with TikTok, the popularity of TikTok and Instagram Reels, that viewage is now being shared across more platforms. So I personally kind of feel like I've seen that as be a little bit of a hit on my YouTube channel. Like I don't see that, that I got quite the viewership on the channel, and it could be other reasons, but I do feel like this is a contributing factor, that we're just seeing a few less views because now people are not spending all their time on YouTube. They've got these other mediums. What's your thoughts on this?
I think so too. I mean, even myself, I notice once in a while you can get kind of lost and go down the rabbit hole of. I don't have TikTok.
Yeah.
I'm not on that yet, but on the Instagram Reels, like I'll watch one and then I'll just scroll up and then I'll just get kind
It's
of
like a potato chip.
It. Yeah, right?
Yeah.
It's like Pringles. You just
Right.
can't have one, but wait, is that Pringles?
Pringles.
I don't
I
know.
just know like a potato chip, like when you eat one potato chip and then pretty soon you're like, oh, I need another potato chip, and then I
Yeah.
need another potato chip.
Well, and
Yeah.
next thing you know, like all this time passes by, and YouTube, I think, has turned into, well, I mean, personally speaking, it's gone from something like an Instagram Reels where you just kind of browse through videos to more like you're more concentrated, you're more focused on what you want to see, whether it's from people you subscribe to or you want to look up certain things.
Right.
Like I look up things on YouTube, whether it's how to install something, how to build something, put something
Right.
together. Aside from that, I'll watch certain subscription feeds,
Mm-hmm.
but that's about it. Where I don't just get lost in YouTube anymore like I used to before.
Yeah. I mean, that's the same thing. I hate to say it too, as somebody that's like sitting here would love to say, watch YouTube, because obviously, but I find myself kind of in the same gig that I can easily, especially if I feel like I don't like I'm doing stuff, and if I end up with just a spare couple minutes,
Yeah.
next thing you know, I'm kind of scrolling down. And again, I mean, I do have a TikTok, and I tried to do a little bit with TikTok, and I should probably try to do more. And in fact, like it would probably be my recommendation to you as someone, if you're starting a channel on YouTube, that also have a TikTok. But I would say I'm much more active on Instagram Reels than I am on TikTok. And then for my own viewership, like me taking time to consume, I definitely spend my time on Instagram more than I do TikTok.
Yeah,
But before what my point I wanted to get to here was that, like if I just got a spare couple minutes or something, I find myself more on Instagram and looking at Reels versus, like, I feel like going to YouTube, it's kind of more of a commitment to a longer form video.
Yeah.
And I may not want to make that commitment, but the sucky thing is like, I may not be like, oh no, I don't have time for a 15-minute video, but then pretty soon I realize I wasted 20 minutes on thumbing through Reels, like.
Well, it's funny because it's easier to go through Reels, right? Because you need to commit less time, like you said. And the way I equate it to, and I'm dating myself here, is, but I don't know if people do this now, but I used to read newspapers back then, right?
Right.
And you can read a whole half a page or a page or a couple pages of a good story, right? Even if
Right.
it's good, or you
Just
can just
read
read
headline?
or read through some comic strips.
Oh.
Right, if you have a certain short amount of time to dedicate, I love reading through comic strips, right? Like,
Right.
for me,
Yeah,
and I
okay.
just read through it real quick, and then do what I got to do. You know, if I don't have much time, if I'm taking a short break.
Right.
Whereas if I'm like, you know, having lunch or having a slow sip of coffee, maybe I can read a whole story, you know, that takes a half page or a full page, you know?
Right.
So I think that's what it's getting to in terms of this Instagram Reels, TikTok, and stuff compared to YouTube.
Yeah. No, I agree on that for sure. Or, um, you know, like just reading the headlines. Sometimes you just, you know, like you don't have a lot of time, so you're just like quickly thumbing through the headlines, you know.
Yeah.
And, but anyways, yeah. So with that, like I said, you know, you know, like, and getting back, you know, and wrapping this back around, like you're thinking about creating a YouTube channel and creating content, like you need to make sure, I think, right now, that part of your strategy is going to be making sure that you are also engaging on, you know, some of these other platforms. And there's many others. We're talking about TikTok and Reels, or TikTok and Instagram, but there's not just TikTok and Instagram. There's, you know, TikTok, Instagram. Have you done anything with Twitch? I've never done anything with Twitch. Not to say that, and I think a lot of people are doing that, and I think it's a little bit more of a live thing, which we could have done this live, maybe even. But,
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, I think, you definitely got to, I feel like it's important, which kind of brings me around, like especially if you have an you know, again, you know, you want to start off with that passion, but if you have a kind of an entrepreneurial plan that you would like to grow this into something, and I think it should be you have a passion for a product, which your product should be to create, and then you know you want to build that into a sustainable business. You know, it's but with that, you know, you need to diversify, and I think any good entrepreneur understands the importance of diversification, and you know, you'll need to have. I think you really need to have a presence on these other ones. Now, I don't know that you need to have a presence on every single one of them that's out there, but you know, at least, you know, try to build a presence. I think on a couple, three of them.
Yeah, it's good to be sensible about it all, like
Right.
logical. Don't, like for me, I know TikTok is a good medium, right, platform for some people, but I just don't have the time. Now, if I try to do TikTok, I'd probably be spreading myself too thin, and I won't be as effective in creating content, you know, on YouTube or whatever.
Right.
You know, so definitely be logical and sensible, and do what you can do, within the time you're allowed
Right.
and allotted. But you know, I did Instagram because it was a good way to just kind of put pictures or behind the scenes stuff or take good photos, because you know
Right.
you can't really do that on YouTube, and just show it out there. But now Instagram is all about the reels.
Right. It's
So-
changed.
But the thing is, the good thing about if you're coming from YouTube space, you have the experience with editing videos, so that's what Instagram Reels are now.
Right.
More simplified, I think, in a lot of
Yeah.
ways. But you know, and I didn't realize that Instagram right now at this point in time when you're watching this video, they're lightly monetizing Reels.
Right.
And I didn't know that. I just
Yeah.
made the Reels because I was like, yeah, it's good exposure. I can use my, you know, what I learned over time to apply to Instagram. But then now there's a section on there which shows you it's not much at all. It's
Right.
not really
No,
a
it's
lot
not.
of-
I don't
but-
think it's definitely on the level of that YouTube, but you know, they're just starting too.
They're just starting. It's like how YouTube started monetizing some years back, but you know, we don't know where it's going to end up. But it's just good to know, like, you know, that Instagram is really pushing for the video type of stuff.
Right.
But it's also I have audiences who are just only using Instagram or only using YouTube, and sometimes it's good to kind of cross promote and stuff in
Right.
that aspect as
Yeah,
well.
and that's a good point. Is like I know that I have people who follow me on Instagram that don't follow me at all on YouTube, and same thing. People follow me on YouTube that don't follow me on Instagram.
Yeah.
But also that kind of brings me to now that, you know, Instagram is starting to monetize and stuff like that, and some of these other platforms are kind of following YouTube's path because they realize that YouTube, part of what I think made YouTube grow so good is the fact that they gave creators an incentive for creating, like, because like because like we already talked about all the effort and time that goes to create. I've seen a lot of great channels just fall off the face of the YouTube platform, just because like you start to realize it is a lot of work and a lot of effort to put that in, and may not always equate into you getting paid to them for the amount of work you're putting into it, or like the incentive isn't really there.
Yeah.
So and so I think other platforms are starting to realize that, and they're like, okay, all the platforms, I think, they have one goal. They have one goal in mind, and that is to keep people on the platform. Because the more that you stay on the platform, watching the platform, the more that you are seeing ads. And the more that you're seeing ads, that's good for the advertisers that basically pay the bills for these platforms to be online, right? So, that's, I want to talk about this a little bit more and deeper, this whole keeping people on and stuff like that. And we'll do that towards the end. But like, so everybody wants to keep you on their platform and stuff like that. So, they need content, right? They need that content. They need us out here doing the job, creating the content, keeping you guys on these platforms, right? So all of them are going to, I'm sure at some point, that they're all going to figure out ways that they can start to compensate us as creators, and to make sure that those that are really putting the work in continue to and drawing people in, that they have a reason to stay on there. But so I imagine that all the different platforms will start to do that a little bit at some point in time. Right now, I still feel like YouTube is probably the best platform that's doing that has it figured out. They've been doing it a long time, and then all the other platforms will start to catch up. But with that said, and I'm kind of getting a long ways around to my point here. But with that said, advertising dollars are going to start getting spread out, and so YouTube, which is already kind of volatile. I mean, they do it really well, but even like, trying to make a living on just AdSense, like that's probably just not going to happen for most of us. Some people probably, like I said, always exceptions to the rule, but there is no way at all that I could make a full-time living on just AdSense. That is really only about a quarter of my income that I am making now. Like without some of my brand deals, without especially Patreon, I could not make a full-time living on this. So, so now that YouTube, like I said, YouTube is already, and it changes. It's especially being in the outdoor space. Like right now during the summertime, my income from YouTube is almost nil. It's very slim. Wintertime, it does much better. You got Christmas, you got holidays and stuff like that, where there's more advertising dollars going in. And so, yeah, I do make more during the winter season and stuff like that. But that's, again, like YouTube fluctuates massively. And then if, like whatever, you're not getting the views and stuff like that, that's also another huge thing that can happen. But now, like I said, again, I'm taking a very long time getting to this point. Advertising dollars start getting spread across other platforms as other platforms start to figure out monetization. Obviously, they're going to be looking for brand deals themselves to be able to get advertisers on their platforms. And then those advertisers who might have been spending more on YouTube are now seeing, well, let's cut some of that YouTube money and let's start putting some in Instagram. Let's start putting some in TikTok. Let's start putting some in XYZ other social media platforms. So now, I see, as a YouTuber, if you're trying to a budding YouTuber and you're wanting to grow, like I see that that monetization could actually start getting less, as other platforms start to get their setups online. So again, it's going to be important to make sure that you are putting effort into more platforms, which again is even more work, because now, like, I'm trying to find time to create YouTube videos, but I'm also trying to find time to create compelling reels. And now that Instagram, like, this is a totally different subject. Instagram has totally switched from being a photo platform to a short form video platform. And photos, have almost completely gone off the I mean, off the rails with Instagram, I'm looking for another service to kind of put that part of my creativity at. And I've got a couple places I'm looking at them, and I can't remember the name of the one that I signed up on, and I haven't even posted anything on. But anyways, I'm looking somewhere else to start putting photos because, like I said, Instagram has just completely decided that photos are, uninteresting, and they want to be complete reels. And I know that's a real controversy, especially for a lot of people who built their Instagram accounts based on quality photo content.
Well, I mean, but that's not, sorry to interrupt, but that's not to say if you want to post photos on Instagram for yourself, by all means, don't stop.
Right.
But
yeah.
I know there are still some big creators who post photos that get a lot of likes and views, but the thing is, you got to look at the bottom line, right? Like Instagram is compensating people who make reels.
Right.
They're not compensating anyone, or from what I understand, they're not monetizing photos. It might be different. I might be wrong, but I haven't noticed that option.
No, I don't think that is an option.
Yeah,
I mean, I think you're correct on that.
So you got to see where they're directing their money. Anytime a business directs money towards something, that's where they consider the value is going to be for the return for that company. So it's on Reels right now.
Right.
So like I said, if you want to post pictures, by all means, you can. It's still stuff you can look back on and enjoy and stuff.
Right.
But just understand that Instagram is now primarily a video platform over a photo platform.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, and yeah, like you said, and I guess I should made that point. Is like, yeah, you absolutely can still post pictures. I still do post pictures from time to time. But I find, because again, and, because I am trying to make a living off the platform. So I'm obviously going to do work. If I'm going to spend time working, I'm going to do work that, that I'm going to get some form of compensation. And so obviously it ends up being more what you get compensated for. So you see less pictures on like my feed per se, and it's more reels now, where I used to, be, very dedicated to only showing my best photos on Instagram. Yeah. Now it's just like reels and reels, but I still want to put those photos somewhere. So now I'm kind of looking for another platform to pass that along. So if you guys know of another platform that you feel like is very photo centric, and you have some suggestions, you should put those down in the comments.
I will admit this too, though. Actually, to keep in mind, based on my experience, is down the line, there are some brands who want to see your photos too, because the Instagram in a way is like a portfolio, right? Whether it's photos or videos, but brands also want to see what your eye is like for photos. Because I had them talk to me about that, and it's not just for them as far as exposure through your channel. It's because they can also see how you are at Photoshop or photo taking, and they can request some of those photos to use in their own platform or their own ads or promotion. Right. So maybe having a few photos there to show what your skills are, if you have, if you're confident in that skills or whatever, to make the photos look good, it's a way to just kind of show potential down the line brand deals or brands, what you can provide to them, what your value is as a creator as well. But like I said, for Instagram purposes only, photos are, it's not as important, but it's still good to have, I think.
Yeah. So I'm going to jump, I just had a thought, and I'm going to just like change things up a little bit. So, because we are talking a lot about brand deals, we're talking a lot about doing these things. So of course we're sellouts, right? That's what, anytime you get a brand deal, you're a sellout, right? So I'm going to point it out, like anybody who's watching this that has no desire to make YouTube or make a living at YouTube, and think anybody that makes money off of YouTube or making create is a sellout. Like, if a sellout means that you get up in the morning and you do a job and you get paid for it, then I say that anybody who has a job is a sellout.
Yeah.
If you go to work and you put tires on a car, you're a sellout. You should be doing that for free.
Unless if you really enjoy putting tires on a car and that's your passion.
Yeah, I mean, if you then, but that's what I'm saying. But if you get paid, you're a sellout. Okay. If you are a very skilled mechanic, if you're charging people, you're a sellout. So
that's I think so. So that see, you can put it that way, and that's very provocative. But I think it's all and then just kind of adding to that is, if personally, and I think I think Jason was being a little bit
Am I making you uneasy?
facetious. No, I think it's hyperbolic. I think is a good way to. But you were exaggerating a little. But like this is the thing with the sellout situation, right?
Right.
Like, if I really love something and someone says, "Hey, just keep doing what you do and use what you love using, but we'll pay you for it because we want to compensate you in that aspect,"
Right.
I think that's different, right?
Yeah.
Like, for example, if your favorite country music star started doing rap because they found out that they might make more money that way, and they're rapping for a company that has nothing to do with country, maybe that's a sellout, right?
Right.
Unless
I
if
would
that's
say that would be that to me that's a sell. That's a true sellout there.
exactly.
Or like in our case, like if we used a brand that we knew sucked,
Yeah,
but we were getting paid well,
yeah,
then I would say that is a sell. But if I use a brand that for me works very well, and I use it in my and I truly use it in my everyday thing, and they're willing to, support the channel, like you better bet I'm going to do it absolutely because like I said, at the end of the day, we've been talking. It's a lot of work to do this stuff, and if you're good at something that you do, I do believe you should be able to make a living at it and that stuff. So, so that's the thing is like, I constantly look for brand deals. I'm gonna be honest. I constantly looking, but at the same time, when I'm looking at those brand deals, I'm evaluating, like, is this something that is going to truly improve whatever it is XYZ I'm doing out here? Whether is it going to make my camping life easier? Is it going to make it easier for me to make videos or content for you guys? Like, is this product going to be of value to me beyond the monetization part? Is the product itself going to be a useful piece of product for me, either camping or videoing? So like when I'm making those, because I'm sure you're the same way. Like if you guys took a look through my email, you would see that I get, and I'm not boasting here because most of the stuff is crap, right? But you get like my email starting about Sunday night all the way through like Thursday morning or so, because then it's the weekend. But like, is full of overseas companies wanting me to promote their product.
yeah,
And like, I mean, it's full. Like, and that's just the stuff that even makes it into my inbox. If I looked at my spam folder, it's even fuller.
that's right. Yeah,
So you guys have to understand, like, yes, we do, but I am constant, but I vet those I'm vetting those products and stuff like that, and it's got to be something that I feel like truly could be a real value to the channel. And then if I can work with that company and companies that I'll be very honest that I am working with right now, as you guys know, I work with Jackery. And I've been using their products for many years, and I like them. There's other products out there that are good. I totally get it, but their products have worked for me, and they have worked solidly for me. You just used your Jackery, and it was, it's been a solid workhorse for you.
well, and it's a good mindset to have is a long-term mindset.
Right.
Well, when I say long-term, it's the fact that if you don't want to compromise your values and your morals, right? So like if you don't believe in something, you have something, and it's a crappy product, but I've turned down, like you, plenty of stuff. I've had offers in my email of people wanting to compensate, pay, to have their products on my rig or my camping, and I turned them down because of the fact that if I use something and I endorse it and it turns out to be junk, and if something is junk, even though you don't say it, people are going to find out.
Right.
And what happens is that not only ruins, at the end of the day, your reputation is the most important thing as a creator, that if you want to grow.
Right.
And if you sacrifice and compromise your values and have a crappy product and you recommend it to people because they paid you, what's going to happen is in the long run, it's going to damage you more.
Right.
So,
and I'll be honest, I've had products that I have endorsed that at the time I thought they were fine. I thought they were good products,
well,
and then a little bit of time goes, and you find out, this thing's not holding up like I thought, and stuff like that. And then you got this content out there, And so yeah, so you do have to be careful with the brand deals because things can, you know, um, even with your best intentions, things can go wrong. But like I said, like I do feel like brand deals, like if you're going to try to make it as a full-time content creator, brand deals are going to be a very necessary part. And I don't see that really changing anytime soon, even as these other platforms start to bring on monetization, because that monetization is very volatile. Sometimes it can be really good, and sometimes it can be zero.
Yeah,
So
and at the end of the day, no matter who, I mean, whether it's like Peter McKinnon, Casey Neistat, those guys, or Trail Recon, all the big channels, they all work with somebody.
right,
Like I don't know one that really don't. Maybe there are a few, but a majority they have. And the reason for that is because that relationship, it benefits both parties.
right.
Like honestly, a lot of my rig, a lot of the stuff on my truck is sponsored stuff, but because I believe in those products and I've already vetted and researched those products before putting it on there and sharing it, and it's helped. Like my content will be have less stuff because I can't afford, just
Right.
out of my own pocket a lot of the stuff, right?
Right.
But I'm glad.
But I'm going to stop you there. Yeah, yeah, you can't afford a lot, but I feel like part of that is compensation. Like we have to look at that as a creator as compensation for the work we're putting in because we
Right.
definitely don't get it in money. For
Yeah.
as much work as we put in, I don't feel like we get compensated for the work we put in. So we have to
Correct.
look at getting these getting the product as part of our paycheck.
Yeah.
So because I look at this from the standpoint of a viewer watching this right now, and they're like, well, you're endorsing a product that you can't afford. How do you expect me to afford it? But the thing is like for me as a full time creator, like I can't afford it because I'm a full time creator,
Yeah.
and my paycheck isn't the same as like maybe somebody else's who has a full time job with medical benefits and the whole 9 yards, and everybody's financial situation is there, and I'm gonna try to get you back onto your thing here, but like everybody's financial situation is different, and I've learned that just because I can't afford something doesn't mean somebody else can't afford something. So anyway, sorry.
Yeah,
Go
I
ahead.
mean, and the thing is, on the other side of the fence too. Like I'm grateful for a lot of people who've reviewed and who've tested or used some of those products because then I was able to learn more about them.
Right.
And that was part of it too. They might not have paid for it, or they might have been sponsored it, but you get to see how it is in action, and I
Right.
think that's the most important thing too. But
And I think that's important because, like, let's say that you are going to spend your hard-earned money on a product that is very pricey, like, because we can get those products sometimes, that means we can kind of vet them out, and you don't hopefully end up spending your money on a product that that is pricey, that doesn't maybe work out the way you want, and which is another point, like with the brand deals, like even and I'm not trying to make this a Jackery ad, but even with Jackery, even though they've been a long time sponsor, like I am not afraid to tell you guys when there's something that's not working the way I want it to. And that's the same with any of the products, like, and that is my deal with these people is I get to say what I want to say. I mean, and it may cost me down the line, I don't know, but in the end, I'm not going to. I'm going to tell you when something isn't as good as I think it should be about a product. Even if I do still like the product, there's usually still always something that I don't like or something I wish was improved.
And that's a good point. And that's another thing I do in the beginning is I make sure the brands that I work with, they are okay with constructive feedback on things that might not necessarily
Right.
be something good about the product. If a company tells you only say good things about our stuff, that's a huge red flag. You don't want to work with them no matter how much they're
Right.
paying you. Or, like,
Another thing for me is like companies will tell me that they want to review what I'm going to say before I put it out, and
Yeah.
that is
uh-uh.
always a no.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
tell them right out, like that is not going to happen.
'Cause-
I was like, I am going to say what I'm going to say, and I'm going to post it. If you want to give me your product, I am going to say what I'm going to say, and I'm going to post it. And you guys do not get to review it first.
That's another thing. A lot of brands that try to control your content and creativity, those are the ones you might want to be careful about. Luckily, all of the people that I work with on my truck, they give me freedom to showcase their products way I want, whether it might put them in a good light or a bad light, and that's because that's a big part of integrity too as a company, and I respect that, and that's great. But like, so I'm sure you get a lot of people asking you questions, how do I get sponsored, right? Like,
Right.
how do you get these free things? And some people say, hey, I reached out to this company and they haven't responded to me.
Right.
And I say, and I don't, and I guess, it's, the bottom line is companies will sponsor you as long as you can provide the exposure that'll bring them more benefit than you are benefiting from them.
Right.
So if they give you a product that's $1,000, if they think they can make more than $1,000 in sales in their margin from that product by having you showcase it or sponsoring you, then they will be a sponsor. Which comes down to you have to have a large following and a lot of exposure.
Right.
That's what marketing for that company who's sponsoring you is all about.
Right.
Marketing is all about getting your word out there and having exposure for the product. And
Right.
and this is a hard pill to swallow, but if you have like 200 followers and your videos are getting maybe 10 views per video, no matter how many times you reach out to the company and the promises you make to them, they're not going to respond. And that's
Right.
just how it is. I mean,
Yeah, and I think, and again, I know, like you probably noticed this, that, we just recently went to Pacific Northwest Expo and stuff like that. And, I think when me and you kind of started in the overlanding YouTube game, like there wasn't a ton of other creators. Now, like it seems like everybody's a creator, which is great. That's fine. That's totally fine. I don't have a problem with that. But with that, you have more competition. You get these you got to understand these manufacturers are getting hundreds of emails a day, hundreds of emails a day. And so I'm not discouraging you from being 101, but like think about, like you need to think about building, if you really do want to be able to work with big name companies, you need to go back to what Edward said in the very beginning of this video. You need to have a passion about what you're doing, and put your dedication into building a good quality product, which is your videos, and build a good quality brand that they work with. Because I would say that 80 to 90% of the brands that I work with, that I like working with, actually I didn't reach out to them. They reached out to me first, because they have people that are out looking, and they're looking for the people that they feel will represent their brand well. So kind of keep that in mind a little bit. So I mean, I have definitely reached out to brands. There's definitely brands things that I specifically want on my van, or I want to work with, and I reach out to them, and I will reach out to them, and I've gotten deals that way. But I've also gotten deals just because I made a quality product, I made good videos, and they saw what I was making, and they wanted to work with me.
So sponsorships, right, with brands. First and foremost, it's relationship, right? It's a relationship between you and the brand. Whether it's just your liaison, your marketing director contact, or whoever, or the brand itself, from anyone in that company, if they sponsor you working with them, it's a relationship first and foremost. But secondly, if the word sponsor is involved, they're a business, you're a brand in itself, your content, so it's a business relationship as well. So I'm adding that business in there. So anytime a business relationship is involved, you got to think about also how you benefit each other using leverage.
Right.
So if you have no viewers, no followers, and you want to get sponsored, they have a lot of leverage with their product, but the person requesting it has no leverage because they don't have anything to offer.
Right.
So if you have more to offer, like some of the big channels with millions of subscribers that gets hundreds of thousands of views a day, they have a lot of leverage. They can go to anybody, and 95% of the time, the brand will be more than happy to hop on board and not only provide a product, but even maybe pay them, right?
Right.
So that is what comes down to that. Like I said, it's cold hard truth, but that's what it is.
Right. So let's start wrapping this up, because I know you got 5-hour drive home. Yeah. So kind of like let's like knock this down to a small bit. Like I know this video has gotten long, and like I said, I know that for my normal subscribers, they probably clicked off of this video a long time ago. But for those that are trying to get a start in YouTube, and again, like Edward said, I think have a passion to create. Like enjoy the process first. Yeah. And then I think things will start to kind of come along, and then as things do come along, try to make good decisions. And if brands want to work with you, try to, again, you want to work with brands that, you will maintain your integrity with as best you can. And not everybody's going to agree with you on a brand. Every brand has had somebody that got pissed off, and when it comes down to it, like the loudest person is the guy. Like you will always get someone's always more willing to give negative feedback than positive feedback. So like I always kind of keep that in mind.
I'm gonna add to that real quick. So also, brand deals not always about you waiting for the brand. So you're not gonna. I think, in my opinion, and based on my experience, only working with the brand because they're providing you with something is not something you should focus on as well down the line.
Right.
Because for me, so I've had on my previous truck, I had a Tundra, and now I have a Ram Rebel.
Right.
And I have BFG KO2s. I had it on both trucks, and now I have KM3s.
Mm-hmm.
All of those tires, the 3 separate occasions I bought 5 of those, because one for the spare, I bought out of my own pocket.
Mm-hmm.
Now, and I got those tires not because of any other reason than I want to make sure that I have reliable tires when I go somewhere into certain areas, and I need the performance. And as a part of, because I create content, they show up in my videos. Right. And you can see that I love these tires because I bought them so much.
Right.
So that's why recently BFG contacted me and they reimbursed me for the KM3s, and now they're a sponsor.
Right.
So that happened because the passion was more evident in the product. Before, I didn't have any expectation. I never thought that I would work with any tire manufacturer or tire company.
Right.
So when you do that, and then what happens is like other tire companies may see that, or any products may see that, and they might want to jump on board. But anyways, at the end of the day, passion is everything. That's where it should be. Passion for your products and goods. And because what happens is if you try to wait for a good brand deal, you might miss out on working and buying something else, even though you might have to shell out a little bit, and you might like, because like, for example, the first Leitner rack that I had on my Tundra, I paid a lot more for, to use on the truck. And then Leitner jumped on board after they saw what I did on the Tundra. So that's what it is too. Like sometimes brands want to see what you can do with the product before they jump on board.
Yeah, and that's the case. That, and like you're with BFG, and a lot of people know that I work with Les Schwab, but the fact is I've been buying Les Schwab tires since I had my first vehicle. I have always worked with Les Schwab, and so when the opportunity to get them as a sponsor, of course, because it was, even if they weren't a sponsor, I'd still be going to Les Schwab. It's just what I do. It's that way, and it's my experience. So, yeah. So like you said, and sometimes opportunities come with different manufacturers, and you'll have to vet those. And sometimes it's maybe you have to take that. Maybe you take that opportunity, and you find a product that surprisingly surprises you. So, just like I said, as you're kind of growing, as you're trying to think about through this stuff, again, have a passion for creating first, make as good a quality stuff. Don't jump into it. I discourage you from trying to jump into this with just the mindset that I'm going to make videos so that I can get free stuff. Hold on a sec, the GoPro just died. So anyways, don't get into it just because you want to get free stuff. Have a passion for creating, because again, if you want to grow your channel, what's going to grow your channel is people seeing your passion for being, like if it's an outdoor channel like ours, your passion for being outdoors and your passion to create quality content. That's what's going to grow your channel. And then if your channel grows, the other things will come along, okay? But if you just go out with the passion to get free stuff, people are going to see that, and you're not going to probably see the success that you're hoping to maybe see down the line.
So basically just have fun. It's important to have fun doing it, because there's a reason why a lot of creators get talk about mental health issues and burnout and stuff like that. It's because they start to focus on the other stuff aside from enjoying what they do.
Right. You start looking at the numbers. You say, I'm not getting as many views as I was. Oh, my revenue's down. Like, I'm telling you things that go through my mind almost daily, and like it gets in my head. And you know, burnout is real, and I go through periods where like I just don't even want to. I don't even want to look at my camera. I don't. I mean, I just. So you know, so like you said, you just have to find that balance somewhere. And like I said, if you're just driven only by you know like money and products, you know, you're probably going to be super disappointed. So you got to really be driven. Like what usually brings me out of a moment of burnout is like again an opportunity like this weekend and just having some time to sit with Ed and get those creative juices and get excited about creating again.
Yeah.
So that's usually what brings me. It's not like it's not like making more money or this or that. It's usually just getting somebody to like snap me out of where I'm at and get get creative thoughts rolling through my head again.
Well, what's funny is actually before making this video, when you were talking about the idea, just popped up recently about doing this chat.
Mm-hmm.
You said, you know what? It's probably not going to get many views from my subscribers, is what you said.
Mm-hmm.
And well, knowing that we're doing this not because the focus is on a lot of views.
Right.
It's just sharing your experience.
Right.
And,
Exactly.
yeah.
Like I said, yeah, you're probably going to look back on this video, if you do watch it, and look back on this video, it's probably not ever going to be one that has gotten a lot of views. And I knew that going into this, but I knew that the information that we were going to share, that there's a handful of you guys that will love it, you know, and I'll probably get a ton of comments of people that say they hate it and they don't want to, and they wish I would just make camping videos. So,
yep. But it's at the end of the day, you are happy with it.
yeah, I am.
And
I'm happy to do this, and I'm happy to have this conversation because, again, you know, I do feel like there's some creators, and I think about the comments and the things that I get, you know, because I do get comments and things like that for guys that are starting new channels and they're looking for some help and they're looking for some things, and I can't always respond to all that stuff because, again, you're trying to create and you're trying to work and you're trying to edit, and so I can't always respond to all that stuff in the detail that probably it needs to be responded to. So doing a video like this, even though, like I said, it probably won't get any views, it probably or very little views, and it's definitely not in the monetization world. This video, because it won't get much views, is not going to make me really any money. But if it helps a couple of you guys and it helps you make some decisions and kind of helps your direction, then, you know, it's totally well worth it to me.
Yeah, and here's another thing, though, actually, that I learned while doing research about creating content is if you do want to focus more on trying to bring traffic into your video, if that is a thing for you, and after everything we said, you still feel like, hey, I still want to drive traffic to my videos, good thing to know is create value in that video.
Right.
Something that it can be searchable, as well as it's not going to benefit you more than it benefits the person watching.
Right.
So if it benefits the person watching more than it benefits you, could be, you know, a good start.
Right. Yeah, you know, and this is a whole long subject that we're not going to make long. I'm going to make it very quick, but, you know, thumbnails are really important when it tries to get in cut, because no matter how good your piece of content is, if people don't click on it, it doesn't matter how good it was or what information was there. But at the same time, you need to make sure that make your thumbnail engaging, but make sure that it delivers, you know, because that's important. If your thumbnail does not deliver, like it's engaging, you get tons of people clicking on it, YouTube will figure that out, and it will make your video perform very badly. So if the thumbnail's engaging, gets people to click on it, and then the video delivers, then that's what you need. So you have to have an engaging thumbnail, but you also, I feel like it's important to create quality, engaging content.
Absolutely.
And quality and engaging, you know, it doesn't mean that it was shot on thousands of dollars of camera equipment. It could be shot on a quality, engaging video could absolutely be shot on an iPhone.
One of my videos that has almost 1 million views was shot on my phone, and not even a new iPhone. It was an old iPhone for like 3-4 years ago.
Right.
And the story is a lot of
Yeah.
thing too. The message that it delivers, the content within, that's not visual, but you know what people can take away from it, not visually, can also have a big impact.
Right. And I'm going to end on one last note: is audio is king. Okay. So you can shoot it on this crappiest camera, but if you're and have crappy video, but if your audio is crap, people are not going to watch it. You could put it on. You could get a Red camera, which is a high quality cinematic camera, And if your audio is shit, nobody's going to watch it. But you can shoot it on an iPhone, and if the audio is great, then people will oftentimes still watch a video that has good audio and crappy video, but they won't watch anything that's quality video with crappy audio. So like,
Yeah.
so as you're trying to budget your marketing, spend more money on audio and less on the video to start with if you have a limited budget. That would be my advice.
Well, as a matter of fact, these camera phones have way better audio than some of these mic attachments on cameras that people are trying to sell. And it's not because the mic is actually a lot better. It's because what happens is sometimes people get one directional mics and they talk behind the camera and you can't hear what they're saying.
Exactly.
Because it's focused in front of you. Whereas these camera phones, it kind of picks up noise from all around, and whatever is closest will be the loudest. So people usually hold their cameras right here talking. And I still watch some YouTube channels that only film on, actually they're food channels, but they use their camera phone, and I hear them really well, and it's great, and yeah, the audio is definitely important, but it doesn't have to be the craziest gear, for sure.
Let's end with one thing. Name one channel and it doesn't have to be a big channel. Ideally, it's not a big channel, but a channel that you've came across that you really enjoy.
So lately, so it's crazy because earlier in my channel, I used to do a lot of more DIY stuff, and I still want to get back into it, but Nate's Dirt Lifestyle, he does a lot of DIY stuff. He fabricates and stuff like that, and we've started to hang out and become friends and stuff like that too. And I enjoy the way he puts things together because, believe it or not, a lot of it's engaging to see something from start to finish.
Right.
The development of something.
Right, and we talked about how much work it is to video, but to video and build something at the same time.
Yep.
Like I'm more, because I've watched some of Nate's content too, and yeah, more power to him. He makes a high quality piece of content.
Yeah.
And having to do that and build something at the same time. Trust me, I have some experience on that, and it's a pain.
It's a pain, but like people love watching that stuff. People will stick around to see what the finished product looks like, and he does that a lot. And he's a great person too, so I think that all helps.
Right.
So that's been something recently.
So a channel that I found, and he hasn't posted in a little bit, so I hope he hasn't gotten discouraged because he was a small channel and he was putting a lot of work into his content. But it was Garage Fab, and it's a guy out of Las Vegas, and the information I thought he was sharing and the way he was editing and the quality he was putting into his videos I thought was phenomenal. And it's funny because it has nothing to do with overlanding, has nothing to do with 4x4 trucks or anything. In fact, he makes lowrider mini trucks that are airbagged and stuff like that. But just the technical information about fabrication I found so engaging, and then he does it in a way that's entertaining and fun. At least I find it entertaining and fun. But yeah, Garage Fab, I love his content. I hope that he's still going to continue to create more content because, like I said, he hasn't made anything. I don't think I've seen anything new from him in a 3 months. But another really small channel, but doing exceptional work. But I think it's kind of funny that both of us had mentioned that we don't watch Overlanding channel. We're watching fabrication.
Well, it's different,
stuff.
I mean, I think because we created too. But have you heard of a channel called Soft Roading the West?
No, I mean, I've heard of one called Soft Roading the Frontier.
Frontier, okay.
Yeah.
I think that's what I might have got the names wrong, but
Right.
I think I met him at Expo recently. And
Yeah.
he seems to be pretty cool. I'm
He's
curious about his channel.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting, So, but I don't know if it's the same guy we're talking about.
Maybe not, because the one I saw, well, he does have a Frontier now, so maybe that's what it is. But,
yeah, I think it's Soft Roading the Frontier. Yeah,
okay,
for sure.
All right, I'll look that up.
Yeah. So, anyways, good, great channel. At least what I've seen is quality work there. Quality work.
Big things coming from that guy. It sounds like.
Yeah. Up and coming.
Yes.
Up and coming. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, like I said, it's a great time. I mean, as much as anything, me and Edward just been sitting around having these conversations all weekend long. Thought we'd just turn the camera on for it and let you guys be a part of it. So if you guys enjoyed it, please do give it a like. If you hated it, please do give it a dislike. And of course, comments really do help the channel. I know we don't always, as creators, have time to respond to all the comments, but comments really do help keep channels afloat. So even if you don't get responses, saying something down in the comments really does help. I try to get some some responses in, but just understand, like I said, I hope that through this process you understand that we are working hard to make this content. We are trying to get it out, and we have to divide our time. And so getting to comments, please don't be discouraged that we don't always get to all your comments, but just understand that you are being an integral part of making these channels happen by making them.
Yep.
So anyhow, guys, thanks a lot. We'll see you guys again outside.